This is Freddy, WoodOvenBoston. He's got an Instagram, it's fantastic. We got to meet Freddy last year at our grand reopening out the Kansas City barbecue store in Olathe. Such a phenomenal dude, and I hope that we're going to get to do some more stuff, get a class maybe, do some more things. But the fact that you're able to get out here, and it took Bree, I know, she talks to everybody into about everything. So we're so happy we got you out here. We're glad Lakeview got you out here with Cameron or whatever. So he is going to show you pizza. It's what everybody wants to know, right? How these doughs work, how simple it can be, and it should be, because it's not difficult, right? But if you understand a little bit of the science, pizza making is fantastic. This is Alfa. This is the one we love. It's the one we use. This is a real Italian-made oven. It's the one we choose for a reason, because it is Italian, it is Italian-made. But man, we don't call them pizza ovens. We just call them ovens, right? Yeah. They're just ovens. We cook everything in them, lasagna, ziti's. The best salmon, I hate salmon, guys. I just want you to know I absolutely despise salmon. The best salmon I've ever had was cooked in the cast iron on an Alfa oven, and it's fantastic. So we love these. We love everything that you can do with them. And man, we're stoked. We're so happy to have you out here, brother. Appreciate you so much. Let's let Freddy do his thing.
Right. So just a little bit about myself. I started making pizza back in 2008 with my daughter, who was 5 at the time, just because the pizza in that town was terrible. It sucked. There's nothing really around, so we figured we would make our own. So we started making it on a Kamado grill with a pizza stone, and then quickly realized to take our pizza to the next level, we needed more heat and to get a pizza oven. So we started off with a small uninsulated pizza oven that used pellets, because we figured it was a small investment, and if we got better at it and liked it, we would buy something better at some point, or if we didn't like it, we weren't investing a lot of money. But the issue that we ran into is the pizza oven we were using was a struggle because it didn't retain heat. So the way that a pizza cooks from the bottom of your pizza is going to cook through conduction, just like a frying pan. The heat's going to transfer from your hot pan or brick to the bottom of your cold pizza, and the top cooks from the radiant heat, the radiation of the flame, intense radiation from the top down. So the issue is, if your oven or whatever you're cooking on, even your pizza stone or your steel at home, isn't properly preheated or won't retain enough heat, your top is going to cook faster than the bottom 100% of the time. I struggled that with myself. So eventually the pizza oven, we got it. We were frustrated with it. We stopped making pizza and then just threw it into the garage because the tops were burning, the bottoms were raw. It wasn't a good experience until one of my buddies started selling these ovens. He says, hey, you gotta come and try this Italian pizza oven we have. And I'm like, no, we're not really gonna do that anymore. We struggled with it. He said, no, it doesn't do all that. It's Italian and it's all the words that a salesman's gonna tell you. I'm like, all right, we'll come over and build a fire in it. And we did that, and it retained the heat really well. So this is the fire brick that they put in it, and you can see that it's extremely thick. The thing about it is, when you preheat your oven and you measure the heat on the top, you want to make sure it's heat soaked all the way through. So one tip that I want everyone to walk away with today is, whether you cook pizza in a pizza oven or your home oven, as soon as you start to preheat in your home oven and you hear your oven beep, that preheating is over. Wait a full hour till you make your pizza, so that the heat has made it all the way through and fully heat soak your surface. Because when you put your cold pizza dough onto your hot surface, it's going to pull the heat out. So if it doesn't retain heat well, or there isn't enough stored energy, this top is still going to cook faster than the bottom. So enough about that. I don't work for Alfa Ovens. I'm not going to try to sell you one today. They have me come out to demonstrations like this because I'm a pizza maker. I have a pizza channel. And if anyone's interested in following on Instagram, there's a QR right there that you can tap onto, and I answer 100% of my DMs if you have any pizza making. So the first thing we did was, with our wood fire that we're cooking on today, is just like a grill or a barbecue pit or whatever you're cooking on, we establish a coal bed with the coals directly on the brick. That's going to keep heat into the bricks, and it's going to provide the radiant heat up over the top to cook the top of the pizza. We're going to stretch and make a round Neapolitan style pizza. So if you are making a round pizza, I'm sure that everyone's had a struggle where their pizza doesn't come out of the oven round. If you want it to come out of the oven round, you have to start off with your dough ball coming out of the box round, and I'm going to show you how to do that. First thing I want to show you is semolina flour. We use this to keep the pizza dough from sticking. Pizza dough's sticky as a bastard. It's going to stick to anything that touches it unless you figure out a way to make it not do that. It's with semolina flour. We don't use cornstarch because cornstarch has a oil addition in it and will scorch the bottom of your pizza when you put it onto the hot brick. So I don't use that unless you're making like a New Haven style, because that's part of the pizza, is that that charcoal on the bottom. So semolina flour, the first thing I'm going to do is put some onto my board. And I like to stretch off of a wooden board because I can pick it up, and I'm going to show you how to fix your pizza if it's stuck. I'm going to take my semolina flour and put it all around the dough ball that I'm going to take from the box. And if you are ever taking your pizza dough out and it starts to stick, don't pull it. Fix that problem before you take the dough ball out so it doesn't take your dough ball out around. So all I'm going to do is separate it from anything that it's touching with the semolina flour. I'm going to use my dough knife just to push semolina flour under the dough ball to keep it from sticking to my tray, and then lift it out just like that. And I put it onto my floured surface and completely cover the whole dough ball. So now, if my dough ball wasn't round at this point, which it mostly is, I would just shape it back into place like that, work it around. That's where we're at. First step, I just use my fingertips and press the dough ball down. I go from the outside of the dough to the middle so we don't get a thin spot in the middle, because as you stretch, the middle is gonna get thinner and thinner as you go. I open up the dough ball to about the size of both my hands. There's 1,000,001 different ways to stretch pizza dough. All I do is put my hand down, pull the side out, flip it over, and turn. And I have a bunch of different techniques, methods, times to use them on my Instagram channel if anyone has any questions. But really, pizza dough is going to stretch itself. So if I just pick the dough up and really just let the dough stretch itself is the big thing. I'm not pulling the dough apart, I'm just letting the gravity. And you're going to end up with round pizza every time. So again, you know, stretching a dough ball is like stretching your muscles. You don't want to stretch cold muscles because they'll contract. The same thing will happen with pizza dough. So before I start stretching, the way I tell if the dough is properly proofed is I'll poke it. And if it doesn't spring all the way back, like it's keeping that hole in there, I know that it's not going to contract as much. If it does, part of the reason why I'm showing you that is I put the dough down, see the size that it is now? It starts to stretch back a little bit. Just let it sit for a minute. Come back and give it another stretch. Because it's going to relax a little bit more, and that's it. So when you go to make your pizza, you don't want to overload it with toppings. Use a little bit less than a spoon right in the middle, and then spread it out. And what's interesting is when you cook round pizzas, even if you don't put your toppings on perfect, they are going to move when they start to bake in the oven. But not too much. You want to still be able to mostly see the dough through the sauce. We're going to put a little bit of pecorino romano on the bottom for flavor. Then some mozzarella. Again, you want to go easy with the toppings. You don't want to overload it because it will make your pizza not rise and cook properly. So you really want to be able to see the tomato sauce through your cheese. We're going to add some raw sausage and let it cook on the pizza. You can make your own pizza dough. I do it all the time. You don't have to. This dough that everyone's been coming up and saying, yeah, the pizza crust is really excellent. We love it. It's tasty. We bought it yesterday at Trader Joe's. $1.39 a package. Brought it home, balled it up into dough balls, let it sit overnight, and then baked it today. You don't have to let it sit overnight. We just do because it gives us a little bit more fermentation and a good flavor. Then we're going to add a couple of peaches. Yeah, you can see, I was skeptical at first too. And we're gonna make sure our pizza's not stuck to the peel before we go to launch, so it comes off the board. Add a little bit of olive oil. And then I'm gonna transfer it to my transfer peel. You'll notice it has holes to release that semolina off the bottom of the pizza. Slide it under. Give it one more stretch. Alright, before you go to launch your pizza, make sure it's not stuck to your peel, which it kind of is. A little bit right there. And making pizza in the humidity down in Kansas City is quite different from making it like in the fall in Boston. Come over to your oven, and all I'm gonna do is pick the spot where I want the pizza to land and pull the peel out from under it like that. And that way it will retain its round shape. So now, the next step is the pizza's gonna cook more on the left side than it is on the right. It's gonna cook quicker because it's closest to that coal bed that's on there. We're gonna turn the pizza to let it cook evenly. We don't want to start turning it too soon because if we try to get under it before the bottom is somewhat cooked and firm, it'll tear the bottom of the pizza. So we're going to use our turning peel and with the rivets facing up because the bottom will turn it. Once it's ready to peel, we're going to release the pizza from the bricks, give it a turn, and then just finish it off. All right, so as far as turning our pizza, what we're going to do is first make sure our pizza is released from the bricks and slide our peel under halfway and pick the pizza up and turn it right on its edge and then put it back on the same spot in the oven. Just like that. So now we talked about the conductive heat cooking the bottom of our pizza. So when we put our cold dough onto the hot bricks, that pizza pulled a lot of heat out of the bricks. So when I'm turning it, if I put it back on the same spot, we'll continue to get an even cook. But if I transfer it to a different spot on the oven that has all that, still has that same heat energy built up, it can burn the bottom of your pizza.
What if you have multiple pizzas?
Same thing. You can just turn them and cook them or rotate them in the oven. So I have the 5 pizzas at home. And I'll be honest with you, the only time I cook like 3, 4, and 5 pizzas is when I want to kind of show off, you know?
Yeah,
but really you can rotate them in the oven. So if I was doing 2 in here, I would just keep an eye on them. And if one was cooking faster than the other, I would transfer it to a different spot in the oven. And you can even take it all the way out of the oven and like rest it on something and then move your other one and then go back in. So when I went to culinary school, we were in the ovens that would hold like 15 and 20. So you always had that room to manage your spot. But it's kind of easy. I mean, you start off with a pizza at a time probably, and then in a very short amount of time, you'll start making more and bigger and better pizzas. So right now our pizza's looking pretty good. The bottom, I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom is cooked properly. It's one of the biggest struggles that people have. If the bottom is cooked in the bottom, you want a little bit more color on it. We call this doming. You pick the pizza up into the dome with the heat, the rate closer to the radiant heat, and the top will cook. You can see it start to steam. And that's it. It's easy, right?
Yeah.
How many of you dropped?
Today?
Putting that yummy goodness of some olive oil. Look at that.